UFC Fight Night, Alex Perez versus Taitsuru Taira. Full card breakdown. Let's get into it. First fight up, Shayilan Nuerdanbieke versus Melquizael Costa. Let's get into it. I'd say that this fight is the odds I feel like are way too high for Costa. Costa hasn't really proven to be that guy, and he has proven to have quit. I mean, the losses against Moises, that's a decent loss, and the loss against Steve Garcia. Both of them have lost to Steve Garcia. I'd say Steve Garcia is kind of a one-dimensional tough guy that has power, but I feel like losing to him isn't the best look. So both of them are kind of capped out on like the potential that they can have in the division. But if you look at the fight with Shayilan with Steve Garcia, I'd say that it was a lot more dominant. He ended up getting too finish hungry. He ended up dropping him, taking him down. I'd say it was a much better look um, that Shayilan had than Costa against the Garcia fight. And I feel like Shayilan just is tougher than him. He has more grit. He's willing to get a takedown. He'll always attempt for takedowns, and Costa does as well. But I feel like Costa has some quit to him. So I feel like if anything, I definitely want to put my money on Shayilan. I feel like I'm semi decently confident, and I feel like that kind of shows with the Tapology picks. But I mean, that doesn't mean too much to be fair. But I think he's a plus 150. I feel like that's just too wide. Should be more of like a minus 130 for Costa maybe. But Costa's image is a lot better than he actually is. I don't feel like he is that good. Um, and Shayilan isn't too much better than him, but I feel like he just got more grit and he has more willingness to win and will do more to win. So my pick is going to be Shayilan by decision. Next fight up, Julia Polastri versus Josefine Knutsson. I feel like I'm not going to go too much in depth in this breakdown for this fight. My pick is going to be Josefine Knutsson by decision because I feel like she's a pretty decision-berg fighter, and women's MMA kind of usually does go to decision. I don't really see any threat from to finish this fight from either fighter. Um, Julia has had her last loss was against Jasmine Judice, and I feel like that's a decent loss. She's really good. She has takedowns that are decent, and I feel like Knutsson's game plan is gonna be to get it to the ground. She's good enough to stay on the feet for sure, but I'd say both of them aren't too proven. Knutsson's best win is against Marnik Man, and any UFC level fighter Julie lost to. I'd say the fact that she can get taken down um, and might not be able to dictate where the fight ends, um, that's going to make me pick Josefine Knutsson by decision. Next fight up, Jeka Saragih versus Westin Wilson. I'd say that this fight is like cut and dry to the aspect of Westin Wilson can win and he has a way to win, but he's definitely not UFC level. So if Jeka is any bit UFC level, which I mean he knocked out Lucas Alexander, which is a good win. Um, but it was he just kind of ended up catching him. He throws big bombs, and I feel like that's what Westin Wilson struggles with people that just come at you and throw heavy blows. Um, Joe Anderson Brito and Jean Silva, I'd say they're way better than Jeka. So I don't know if it'll be a first round, but that's probably gonna be my pick. It's gonna be Jeka by first round knockout, just because Westin Wilson doesn't really see outside of like the second round. I think a lot of his fights end in the first round, so I honestly see this being under 1.5 for sure. Um, decently confident in Jeka, but he hasn't really been too proven in the UFC. Westin Wilson is a lower fighter, so I mean the pick has to be Jeka. Next fight up, Carli Judice versus Gabriella Fernandes. I feel like I don't know how Carli is fighting in the UFC. I feel like okay, she has 3 fights, 3 wins, sorry, 1 loss. I don't know how that's worthy of getting in the UFC. Maybe it's a short notice. I don't know. I don't recall it was a short notice, but she lost against Ernesta, which she recently fought, and she's not the worst. I'm pretty sure she ended up losing a fight against Barboza, which was a debuting fighter as well, I think. And that was probably a bit of a wrong decision on her end. But I'd say Ernesta's not the worst. She has really good output, but Carli losing to her kind of like caps her out if she can be that good in the UFC. And she's new to MMA. I think she started fighting in 2022. So I don't know how anybody can pick Carli. Fernandes isn't that good, but she struggles with getting taken down, and I don't think she's gonna get taken down this fight, and she's gonna be able to just dictate an out experienced Carli. So my pick is gonna be Fernandez by decision. Next fight up, Garrett Armfield versus Brady Hiestand. I'd say that they're similar fighters, but Armfield is just way more technical in every aspect. Both of them are dog tough. I'd say Brady, he's like his only way to win is just to out tough Armfield, and I feel like that's a pretty hard thing to do in 135. Yeah, 135, because all of them have pretty good gas tanks, and Armfield is just a more technical striker. He can knock him out. Um, I don't know. I feel like Hiestand isn't too good. Fernie Garcia, not UFC level. Dana, that was a comeback win. He was getting utterly just destroyed, and then gassed him out, and then finished him in third, which is a really good win, and that just shows his grit. But I don't know. I don't. A loss against Chad. That's an Chad is okay, but I don't know. He's definitely capped out. Losing to Ricky, that's not the best look. It's kind of hard for me to even see how you can pick Brady. I'd say Armfield is definitely one of my higher confident picks on this card. Probably second behind Aliskerov, sorry. And actually, he's probably third. Almabayev too. So he's probably third in the pecking order. But I feel like Armfield can just decide where the fight is. He can take him down. He can stay on the feet and knock him out possibly. But I think that Brady is tough enough to survive, and I feel like my pick is gonna be Armfield by decision. Next fight up, Nate Maness versus Jimmy Flick. I really don't like the odds on this fight. I feel like Nate Maness should not be as high of a favorite as he is because Jimmy Flick is dangerous. He has really good ground game. He can get takedowns, and I feel like anybody Nate Maness's level, or even like what Malcolm Gordon, Costa's too good for him and too powerful. Charles Johnson's too experienced. Cody Durden, he ended up catching him, and he's actually decent. Nate Smith, I don't think I know who that is, but Nate Maness has been in there with tough guys like Nurmagomedov, Ulanbekov. Those are really good losses. Can't really knock him. He knocked Mendonca out by. He was just. Honestly, it could happen exactly what happened in the Mendonca fight where Nate Maness had his leg in a leg lock, and then he just kept pounding Mendonca while he was on the ground, and then knocked him out like that. Um, I'd say that Nate Maness is going to be the pick, and it is going to be Nate Maness by first round knockout. But I think that the odds on Jimmy Flick are just way too good. I feel like a cheeky bet on like a submission because that's his only way to win. He's definitely not winning by a KO or decision. Nate Maness, I'd say, is the better overall fighter, but Jimmy Flick seems like he's more dangerous. Um, Jimmy Flick, you can't really have him as your pick, but he definitely has a decent chance to win. The odds is what's like swaying me to even bet on Jimmy Flick. Nate Maness, the price is way too high, but uh, I'd say he has a decent chance to win, but he isn't like substantially better than Flick, even though he has fought like really good people and hasn't really lost to anybody like Jimmy Flick's level. But pick is gonna be Nate Maness by first round knockout. Next up, Tagir Ulanbekov versus Joshua Van. I feel like this is going to be a pretty good fight. I'm pretty excited for this. Joshua Van is a young prospect that has really good boxing, has really good body shots, and mixes in just all around strikes. I'd say he is definitely one to look out for, and he's going to be improving for sure throughout the years. I feel like Ulanbekov is just going to be able to take him down, though. I feel like he is his loss against Tim Elliott isn't the best of looks, but Tim Elliott is pretty crafty and he is a vet. I'd say that the Joshua Van's knockout on Felipe Boons was pretty good. Boons, yeah, is pretty good. I feel like his win against Borjas, he got dropped. I'm pretty sure in that fight, which isn't the best of looks, and it was kind of close. But he in the second and third round he started to up the pace and just took it away. Um, Zumagulov, I'd say he had a split decision. I think he should have won 29-28, but having a close fight with him isn't the best of looks. I feel like Tagir is good enough on the feet to survive, and he's going to be able to get it on the ground. He's just too dangerous on the ground. I'm not sure if he'll be able to submit him. I'd say that him having really good takedowns is he's just gonna be able to take down Van and just control him, either get on his back or tie something up. I don't know if he'll get the submission, but I feel like his wrestling is too good, and Van is too inexperienced and hasn't fought anyone at Tagir's level. So I feel like the pick has to be Tagir, and it's decently confident. I'm decently confident in it, just because Van isn't experienced enough yet. But Van is definitely one to look out for. The pick is going to be Ulanbekov by decision. Next up, Adam Fugitt versus Josh Quinlan. I feel like this is a really close fight. Both of them are pretty similar skill level. Both of them have I'd say Quinlan, his losses against Waters, which I think I view him as a decent guy in the division. Really tall and lengthy, and he fought another tall and lengthy Danny Barlow. Both of them have crisp striking, so it's not and a big reach on him. So I'd say it's not too bad of a loss for Quinlan. Let's check the reach. 5 inch. I mean, he has just a short reach, or he's just fighting really long reach people. Um, Adam Fugitt, I'd say the Mike Malott loss, not the worst. I feel like Mike Malott is pretty decent, even though he lost to Neil Magny. But, well, he's not fighting, so we're not going to talk about it. And Michael Morales, that's a prospect, so not a bad loss either. Um, I'd say that this fight is probably going to end and finish. Decently confident in that. I'd say both of them are willing to bang. I feel like Quinlan is more powerful and just better overall. I feel like it's just dependent on whether he can deal with the reach disadvantage. He hasn't really done too well with the Waters and Barlow, but I'd say Quinlan, I'd say has more power. This is a really close fight. Confidence level is really low. It could go either way. Fugit might be able to get some takedowns and switch up where the fight ends, but I'd say Quinlan by knockout in the first round is going to be my pick. Next up, Asu Almabayev versus Jose Johnson. I'd say this is this is a good fight. Jose Johnson is decent. His win against Chad was good. Damon Blackshear, that guy's good. Not too bad of a loss. I'd say he hasn't fought anybody like crazy good, but Damon Blackshear is a good test, and he ended up losing by Twister. Yeah, that was a tough one. But I feel like the same is gonna happen with Asu Almabayev. I feel like he's gonna be able to take him down, dictate where the fight ends, and just slowly work to a submission. I'd say Asu, his wrestling is definitely on the top tier in this weight class, 125 too. I was just checking if he was 135. He is a big favorite. I think that's warranted. Both of them aren't like too known, but Asu, if you look at his fights, he would just always go for the takedown. He's fine with staying on the feet and will maybe throw some crazy shit, but he'll end up going for the takedown if he's in any danger or if he just wants to take you down. I feel like that is his game plan, to take you down and try to tie something up. He's really crafty. I'd say he's definitely a prospect in this division. And I think that he will just get all the takedowns that he wants. Jose Johnson might be able to defend some of them, but I feel like his chain wrestling and he will just keep shooting for them. So Asu Almabayev by submission in the second round is going to be my pick. Next up, Miles Johnson versus Douglas Silva de Andrade. I'd say that this is a close fight on just the quick look of it, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, a lot of people are picking both sides, more on the Andrade side, and that's where I'm gonna be leaning. I feel like Andrade is just a tougher version of John's. Um, his wins against Gibson, I'm pretty sure he beat Gibson as well. Maybe it was a bit, yeah, it was longer ago. I'm pretty sure. And he beat Argueta, which went to a no contest, but he beat him. I'd say his loss against Castaneda, jeez, is kind of one of those that he ended up getting broken. I feel like Andrade can push a pace and he throws heat. He's pretty powerful. He has a lot of finishes. And I feel like Johns is tough enough, so I think this fight will go to decision. I think it's a back and forth. I feel like Johns, he won't be able to get the takedowns that he wants, and on the feet he doesn't look too technical. I feel like he isn't as technical or powerful as Andrade, and Andrade will be fine if it goes to the ground, or he might even go for some takedowns on his own. I'd say that my pick is going to be Andrade by decision. I'd say I'm like medium confidence on Andrade, and I'm like medium confidence that it goes to decision, but Andrade can knock him out. I think if there is a finish, it will be on the Andrade side. But yeah, my pick is going to be Andrade by decision. Next up, Lucas Almeida versus Timmy Cuamba. I honestly don't see at all how people are on Cuamba. 80% of people. I don't know. Am I dead wrong here? I wonder if anybody agrees with me. If you agree with me, maybe say something in the comments or say why that you think Cuamba is gonna win. But Timmy Boy is not gonna win. I don't know. He lost to okay. I don't. That's. It's hard to tell how bad of a loss that is. I don't know why it was a split decision. It was a clear 29-28 for okay, but he doesn't like. I feel like Lucas Almeida. He's lost to Pat Sabatini, which is a lot better than Timmy. Andre Fili, better than Timmy. Daniel Zellhuber, a lot better than him. So his losses aren't bad. He has a lot of finishes. He finishes people that are low level. Just looking on his record, seeing how he fights, he's pretty dangerous. He can finish anywhere on the ground, on the feet. Timmy isn't proven at all. And Almeida isn't proven to be anybody that good, but who has Timmy beat? He has straight up beaten nobody that's actually decent. He doesn't have as much finishing quality, and he doesn't have as much fight, so I don't see how the odds are like, what, plus 150? I'm pretty sure on DraftKings it's like plus 170. I feel like I'm decently confident in Almeida, like around medium confidence in Almeida. I feel like he can just take it anywhere on the ground and he'll be able to win on the ground. Timmy might have more grit. He is younger than him. He's 25 to 33, but I feel like Almeida will be able to find something. He'll be able to catch him. My pick is going to be Almeida by KO in the first round. The co-main event, Ikram Aliskerov versus Antonio Tricoli. Honestly, there's not much to say about this fight. I'd say Ikram is just gonna bulldoze through this guy. It's gonna be a first round knockout. I mean, I don't see even this 2%. I feel like these guys are kind of just trolls. I don't see how he doesn't get finished, and I don't see how it's not in the first round. But for damn sure, Ikram is winning the fight. I like this is one of those where if Ikram loses, it's gonna be like one of those 1 out of 100 fights. And anybody, it's a fist fight. Anybody can get one punch knocked out, and especially at this weight where it's not as technical. Like in the lower weight classes, everybody's just good over all around, and it's hard to get knocked out even if you have the power, just because they're so small. But being this big, anything can happen. But Ikram, There's just probably gonna be not much messing about. He can take this fight anywhere. He'll win anywhere. Super high confident in Ikram, as everyone else is. But my pick is gonna be Ikram by first round knockout. Main event of the evening: Alex Perez versus Tatsuro Taira. I'd say that this is a close fight. I feel like anybody big on one way, 78% Taira. I feel like anybody big on one side is like maybe pushing too much in Taira, which is the side that most people are picking. I feel like I'm in the hype. I believe that he's good. He's 24 years old. He hasn't lost any fights. He hasn't faced anybody crazy good though. That's like the one thing. And I feel like Perez, he got doubted every single fight. Against the Mokaev fight, he was a decent underdog. Against Nicolau, he was a decent underdog, and he ended up knocking him out in the first round. And he arguably won the Mokaev fight. I had him winning that fight, but it was a close fight, so definitely not a robber or anything. But his other losses: Alex Pantoja, Figueiredo, and I think Benavidez was his other loss. He's only lost to champions, and Mokaev, which was a close fight, which is a wrestler that isn't too damaging. Tatsuro, really dangerous on the ground. He'll always look for the takedown, and he will get him. He has good takedowns. He's really crafty on the ground. Can sneak in submission in. But I feel like he isn't at the level of like a Pantoja on the ground or Figueiredo, or at least just yet. Just because I feel like he's another prospect, just like Van. I feel like he's exciting to watch. He's young, and he's definitely the future. But I feel like Perez, he might just out veteran him, out experience him. He's faced everybody uh, at the top level, and I feel like there's Tatsuro doesn't have anything that Perez hadn't seen. So I feel like I have to edge Perez. I feel like Tatsuro, he is really tough. He has like been caught in a submission with Chirez. Alex Perez does have finishing power, but I feel like if this fight goes to like ends in finish, I don't see it Taitsuru's way. I feel like if it ends in finish, Taitsuru ends up getting knocked out, even though he's good enough on the feet to survive with Perez. I feel like Perez has upside to knock him out on the feet, but I feel like this fight will go to decision, and my pick is going to be Alex Perez by decision. That's my UFC Fight Night Alex Perez versus Taitsuru Taira breakdown. Thanks for watching.